Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Now, born on this date in 1914, the late jazz pianist Sun Ra of Birmingham. In 1959, humorist, author, and speaker Andy Andrews of Birmingham and Dothan. Today, let's talk about maternal mortality, The Voice, a drone arrest, a child care discussion coming today, and Bob Carlton's on the show to talk about various kinds of Alabama food that you need to get you some of this summer. My name's Ike Morgan, and we are down in Alabama. The folks at the Alabama Department of Health are looking for more insight into maternal mortality in the state, and they're hoping that's what they'll get by taking an autopsy program statewide, reports AL.com's Amy Yurkinen. The program provides cost-free autopsies on women who died during pregnancy or within a year after giving birth. It's been in place since December in Baldwin, Jefferson, Madison, Marshall, Mobile, Montgomery, Shelby, and Walker counties. Alabama has one of the nation's highest maternal mortality rates. AL.com's Anna Claire Vollers did reporting back in 2019 that showed there were issues with the state's tracking of expectant or new mothers who had died. The state then put $500,000 into investigating the high mortality rate. Also, a maternal mortality rate review committee found that 15 of the 24 pregnancy-related deaths in Alabama in 2018 and 2019 were preventable. Infections, heart problems, and hemorrhage accounted for the highest number of deaths in those cases. However, the ADPH says that autopsies are performed on only about half the pregnant women and new mom deaths. Hence, this free autopsy program, which is now being rolled out statewide over the coming months. Complete autopsies will be done at UAB and the University of South Alabama. Alabamians are having a big week on reality television. Yesterday, we had the story of a 12-year-old who won Gordon Ramsay's Master Chef Junior competition. Then last night, Asher Havan became the first Alabama native to win a season on NBC's The Voice, reports AL.com's Mary Colurso. Now, his win in the finals wasn't a shock. The soul singer, who's originally from Selma, has been a front-runner this season and was strongly championed by his team coach, Reba McEntire. A recording contract, by the way, comes along with the title. You can't say that the Hangout Festival environment isn't at least keeping up with the latest trends in illegal activity. Now, firing one up in the porta potty is archaic. AL.com's Warren Kulo reports that a man was arrested at this year's event after his drone buzzed a police drone. Gulf Shores Detective Carl Wittstruck said, quote, like in Top Gun. Police say the man launched on the first 2 days of Hangout. They figured out where it came from after the first day, so they were ready for it on the second day. There are federal laws regulating drones, but local rules can be spotty. Gulf Shores prohibits them from being flown over public beaches without a permit from the city and the Federal Aviation Administration. Now, if you break that one, you could face up to a $500 fine and 6 months in jail. If you've tried to put a kid in daycare lately, you know how tough it can be to find a spot, then be able to afford that spot. Now, it's barely even a joke anymore when people say you really need to put a child on a waiting list before he or she is born. Now, we've talked about this recently here on this podcast. And policy wrangling on the issue is something you might see play out over the coming months. So I want to let y'all know about a virtual event being co-hosted today by AL.com's Alabama Education Lab that'll feature U.S. Senators Katie Britt of Alabama and Patty Murray of Washington. Now, if you listened yesterday, you heard Ruth Servant-Smith talk about this one. Our Tricia Powell Crane will be one of the moderators, and it'll be at 2:30 p.m. today, Alabama time. You can see it on AL.com's Facebook page or YouTube channel. Well, we're going to take a really quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk about Alabama food with veteran food reporter Bob Carlton, who started work with the Birmingham News 45 years ago. What I'm saying is, he knows what he's talking about. If you're in Alabama and you eat, you're going to want to stay with us. Hey, welcome back, folks. Thanks again for joining us. Today, in our virtual studio, we have a writer who many Alabamians are familiar with. At some point, you've surely read his work on AL.com or in the Birmingham News, and you've probably seen his restaurant features or reviews on the walls and bulletin boards of Alabama barbecue joints, meat and threes, fine dining establishments, at least if the review went their way, I guess. But veteran Alabama food reporter Bob Carlton just marked his 45th anniversary with AL.com in the Birmingham News, and he's here to talk about it. Now, Bob, where do the years go? And welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, they flew by fast. I actually started at the Birmingham News as a summer intern in 1979 and have never left. So it's been a pretty incredible journey, and hopefully there are a few more miles left on that journey. So as,
I'm
as
sure. I'm
long as
sure
they'll
there.
keep me, I think I'll stick around a while.
We're glad. We're glad for that. Now, you said you started as a summer intern. What sort of has been your road through the newspaper business? What have you covered?
Well, actually, I started out on the copy desk, which that's an antiquated term now, but there are
It's a
not many
shame.
newspaper copy desks anymore or copy editors. But I started out there, editing stories, writing headlines, um, and I did that for about roughly a year, and then the whole time I was writing on the side, kind of entertainment writing and stuff like that, and then I guess around 1980, 81, somewhere I went over and moved into the entertainment department.
Well, copy editing and copy desks are near and dear to my heart. I really, I really think that's a great way to get into the business, especially for people who are a little introverted, which is kind of like me. But uh,
Yeah, at the time there were a number of us who started out on the copy desk and later went on to become reporters and editors. I'm going to drop some names here, but Bob Blaylock, Terry Troncalli, Eddie Lard, all those are old Birmingham News names that readers will remember. And we were all copy desk people at one earlier in our career before we kind of moved up or moved on. I shouldn't say moved up, but moved to into writing.
yeah, it's a great way to cut your teeth and to get to spend some time with stories and kind of understand things in a different way. As copy desk people were always the sort of the first readers of the news, which was a special thing when we didn't have the 24-hour news cycle, especially.
Hey, I go far enough back where we had to look up words in the dictionary. We didn't have spell check and things like that. So when you would come to a word that you didn't know or looked funny, you had to open the dictionary and look it up. So
I, now I still have Webster's Collegiate, and there's an AP style book around here somewhere, the hard copy.
yeah, yeah.
All right, now, uh, I wanted to get this part out of you in this visit. I got to get something for myself here. It's summer vacation time. We might be moving about in the state, eating on the road a little more. Where do I need to plan a meal this summer?
Oh, you tell me where you're going, and I'll tell you where what to plan. But I was going to tell you that we're in that sweet spot. It's kind of like, to use a sports analogy, when the Final Four is happening and Major League is opening day in Major League Baseball, and the Masters is just around the corner. It's kind of like that right now in Alabama because we're in the peak of strawberry season. It'll be gone in a couple of weeks. There's lots of great strawberry dishes all around the state, and we're about to overlap into peach season. And it's kind of early peach season right now. There are a couple of places that already have a few peach dishes on their menus, and then maybe mid to late June, we'll start getting into Alabama heirloom tomatoes, which is one of my favorite things about summer. I just love this period, this window, and the progression of summer, late spring through summer, where you go from strawberries to peaches to tomatoes, and then at the back end of the season you get into figs. So anyway, that's a rambling answer to your question. But tell me where you're going, and I'll try to give you some ideas about where to go eat and
You,
what to
you know,
eat.
yeah, yeah. You know, I make the mistake of always ordering go-tos a lot of times off the menu and not thinking about seasonal dishes.
Yeah.
That's really important though, especially with with a place that with a chef that knows what he's doing. Let's take me toward the coast, anywhere on 65 or 231. A place to stop on my way to the Gulf Coast.
Okay. On your way to the Gulf Coast, well, I never go. This is may sound cliche, but I never go past the Evergreen exit without pulling over at the Conecuh Sausage gift shop. Conecuh is an iconic Alabama brand, and they built this beautiful gift shop store. Um, it's kind of like a small scale Bucky's without the gas pumps, but they always get a Conecuh dog there, and then if I'm maybe also along the way, go to Priester's Pecans, obviously Bates House at Turkey in Greenville. There's a great little restaurant in Greenville called the Alabama Grill. A young lady and her husband took it over a few years ago. It sat empty for a while, and they have they make great pizzas, and it's kind of
Mm.
one of those places that's a little bit off the beaten path because it's not right off the exit, but you have to go into town to find it. But it's well worth the stop. It's called the Alabama Grill in Greenville.
Yeah. Here's a question that just came to mind. So so I don't know how fair it is to ask, but I will anyway. The Big Bob Gibson's just won barbecue competition, and we know about um, barbecue in Alabama and some of these giants that we have that everybody will swear by. People will travel to eat at. Is there a Do you have a like sleeper, like a surprise, something that I probably haven't even thought about that will knock me out, even compared to the big boys?
Yeah, there are a couple that come to mind. One is a small town, Alabama Rib Shack, and they call it the Rib Shack, but it is a gorgeous building that the owner built literally with his own hands, and it's in Gainesville in Sumter County. It's again, it's called the Alabama Rib Shack, and then another one closer, here in Birmingham that opened a couple 3 years ago in Pelham is Creekside Barbecue over near Oak Mountain Amphitheater. And I've been there 3 or 4 times and had the brisket, had the wings. They have great collard greens. So yeah, those are a couple that you might not have heard about yet. Although the Alabama Rib Shack is getting a lot of notoriety in the last couple of years. They were featured on True South um, back in earlier this year or late last year, and anyway, those are a couple of good places to put on your barbecue bucket list.
They're all on my barbecue bucket list. So let me ask this because you mentioned brisket. Some people are very strict with their definitions of barbecue. For people, it's got to be pulled pork. That's what
Yeah.
the noun to barbecue means. Well, how strict are you? I mean, when is it barbecued? When is it grilled?
Well, it's obviously barbecue to me if it's smoked. Although one of my favorite barbecue places, they pretty much grill their ribs. Archibald's Barbecue in Northport, which is one of the iconic barbecue joints in Alabama, and they cook their ribs fast over high heat, real fast. But they do a great job with that. But To answer your question, if it's smoked, it's barbecue to me. Generally speaking, if it's grilled, it's backyard grilling.
Yeah, I, I know that it can vary widely, and people from Texas can even. I've heard them put down pork, and I don't understand that.
Well, it's interesting, and I think Alabama barbecue has really evolved in the years since I've been writing about it. It used to be you didn't find brisket on many menus here in the state, but um, now just about every, I won't say every, but a lot of the barbecue joints here have added brisket to their menu. If not every day, they may have like a brisket Wednesday, like Bob Sykes Barbecue in Bessemer, another iconic barbecue joint. They have a brisket Wednesday is their brisket day, and
I don't think I even had brisket until I was an adult, and probably eating at Jim and Nick's because they have this double decker sandwich that has
yeah.
pulled pork and brisket.
Oh wow, I haven't had that. I need to. How's that?
I loved it. It was a monster. But
So you actually had both of them going on at once, or did you separate the sandwich and eat the pork and eat the brisket on the other side?
I'm not sure what you're supposed to do, but I just grabbed it with two fists and
Okay,
ate it like a sandwich.
it
It
does
has
sound
like
like
a
a
piece.
two-fister for sure.
It's been a while, and I know that Jim and Nick's has changed menus a couple times in the last 15 years, but so I can't promise that it's there. But I sure enjoyed it. There was a piece of bread in the middle, so it was like a
Okay,
Big Mac,
yeah, a barbecue Big Mac.
the barbecue Big Mac. Oh yeah, a Big Mac my way. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What about? It's like I have you here, and so it's my own personal. Tell me where to go. What about if I'm in Central Alabama, the Birmingham area, and I don't have a catfish joint go to. See, when I live closer to the coast, you have those places where you get a plate and it's a big and fried. Where do I? What's a great place to go for fried catfish in the area?
Well, I'm going to give you two places, and they're both Greek-owned restaurants, and actually they're both owned by members of the Hanses family. The Hanses family, as you probably know, is very prominent on the Birmingham restaurant scene. But Tim Hanses at Johnny's Restaurant in Homewood. Now his catfish, I think it's only on Friday. He may have it more than one day a week, but he has everything Tim does is great. But he does just a really nice catfish dish, fried catfish dish. And at Nikki's West in on Finley, off of Finley Avenue, Pete and Teddy Hanses, they also do catfish, and they have fried catfish. They have lemon pepper catfish. I think they may cook it one other way, but you can. It's not available every day. One day they may have it fried, and the next day it may be lemon pepper catfish. But you can
Yeah.
typically get catfish there just about every day. So
Okay.
those are two places that I would recommend.
I'm going to hit you with just one more. And this question is kind of inspired by you talking about strawberry season and peach season, which, by the way, we are moving. I just bought a new place, and the first thing I did was plant three peach trees
Oh wow,
that my mother-in-law gave me for my birthday. So, uh,
cool. Cool.
fired up about all the
Let
peaches
me have some when you have your first harvest.
I will. I hope I'm able to follow through on that. We'll see how it goes. There's plenty of sunshine. No, but this doesn't have to be peaches and strawberries or even seasonal. But um, yeah, I just give me a dessert pick, something for after a movie or after dinner. I mean, it can be in the Birmingham area, or if you have a dessert dish statewide that just jumps out at you. summertime. We'll say keep it to a summertime type dish.
Well, off the top of my head, last week I went on a strawberry bender, so to speak, and um, I've been a good boy for a number of weeks, and I buy my strawberries from a gentleman, a farmer up in Coleman, Trent Boyd, of Boyd Harvest Farm, and Trent, excuse me, Trent supplies a lot of the restaurants here with strawberries. So I've just been eating his strawberries all by themselves. They're so good. But then last week I went to a number of different restaurants around town, and knowing that we're in peak strawberry season and that it doesn't last, it'll be gone in 2 or 3 weeks. Um, I kind of hit up all their desserts. And one of my favorites was something called a strawberry crisp, and it was at Helen downtown. And the chef there, Rob McDaniel, he actually gets his strawberries from some growers down in Chilton County. But it was kind of his version of a strawberry cobbler. Uh,
Mm.
but for the crust, he used his angel biscuits, which the angel biscuits are, he's famous for them. And he crisped them up and, gave them a little crunch to them. And he had a brown sugar ice cream on top of it. And I would say that of all the strawberry dishes I had last week, that was one of my favorites.
That sounds like it's in the honey hush category.
Yeah.
I
Hey, and you didn't ask me, but I'm going to dive right in here and tell you a peach dish that
okay.
you need to try if you haven't. It's called the Chilton County Peach and Conecuh Sausage Pizza, or Chilton County Pizza.
Whoa.
It's at Pizzeria GM in Homewood, and it's
Okay.
the guys that own G and Marcos. They opened a pizza place about 5 years ago, and although their menu has a lot more than just pizza, but in the summertime they do a Conecuh sausage and Chilton County peach pizza with East Avoga honey, balsamic. It is the best
Yeah.
pizza you could ever imagine. And we actually went there. Was it Friday night or Saturday night, and had it for the first time. It's kind of early in the year for them to have it, but I guess it's so popular that they wanted to go ahead and get it on the menu. But anyway, it's
Come
a
on with
pizza, but
that.
it tastes like a dessert. But the Conecuh sausage with it, it's got Conecuh sausage and Conecuh bacon. It gives you a little savory,
Oh yeah.
smoky, savory flavor to go with it. So you know you're eating a pizza, but it's got all the great Alabama ingredients: Conecuh sausage, Chilton County peaches, and East Avoga honey. So
Oh, I'm hurting. I hadn't had anything to eat yet today. So yeah, this is running me. This will give me. I'll end up eating enough calories the rest of the day to get me through the weekend. Let,
yeah.
let me ask you real quick about a new series that you're starting, so you can plug that. People can look for it if they didn't get enough from this from this interview alone. Starting this week, I think dishes worth traveling for.
Yeah, I think we're going to call it "Dishes Worth the Drive,"
Okay,
just so we'll get a little alliteration in there. But it's going to be featured on in our digital newspapers, the Birmingham News, Huntsville Times, and Mobile Press Register. And the idea is that I pick a dish that's kind of off the beaten path, not in one of the cities, but is somewhere where you have to literally get in your car and maybe plug in the address in your GPS and drive to. And the very first one I'm starting out with is again another great Alabama product. It's bacon wrapped Wickles pickles or okra.
come
Um,
on.
and it's at a place called the Waverly Local, small town of Waverly. Probably 100 to 150 people live there. Two guys have been childhood friends since they grew up together in Auburn. They opened the Waverly Local about 6.5 years ago. And one of the owners, one of the two guys, is one of the founders of Wickles Pickles. So they wanted to have a Wickles dish on their menu. And the chef there, Christian Watson, came up with this idea of wrapping the Wickles pickles and, I mean, the Wickles okra and bacon, pecan smoked bacon, and baking them in the oven. And they are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So
Love it.
it's worth the drive, as we say.
We're gonna, yeah. If you have a place in a small town, you got to be worth the drive to keep it going.
Yeah, yeah. And on down the road, we'll probably, hopefully visit the Wildflower Cafe and maybe do something on the tomato pie at the Wildflower Cafe in Mentone. And, I have some other ideas, and certainly am open to suggestions.
Great, great. And again, that series is going to be featured in our digital newspapers. That
Correct.
is a subscription. The Birmingham News, Huntsville Times, Mobile Press Register, but you can find it on our website, and then
Yeah, it'll be
sometimes,
on al.com. But I think to read the entire article, though, you need to be a subscriber. And of course, we encourage everyone to subscribe to our digital newspapers, which you can explain it better than me, but it's kind of like the old newspaper experience on a laptop. You got your comics, you got
mhm.
your obituaries, you got puzzles, and all that.
Yeah, it's put together it's sort of curated for someone who's like coming to the news like you would a newspaper or whatever, instead of stuff that reaches out and gets people on Facebook. So it's inexpensive and great to have. Lots of local news is in it. But you can get that through the mainal.com site. Well, Bob Carlton, congratulations on 45 years. I hope we have you back before the 50th for sure, but for the 50th too. And thanks for coming on and sharing all this with us.
Thank you for having me, Ike. And yeah, I hope I'm here for the 50th. So yeah, I'll be happy to be back.
All right. And thanks to everybody out there for listening to us. Now go get something to eat. We're going to be back here tomorrow. Until then, y'all come on by and see us on the internet at al.com.